The Anglican Church of Australia recently held its General Synod in Maroochydore on Queensland's Sunshine Coast from September 3rd to 8th. Given the last General Synod was held in 2014, there was much to discuss, including redress schemes for child sexual abuse survivors, same-sex marriage, and a range of other important legislative matters. Anglican Media Melbourne was there to cover all the proceedings and spoke to several Synod members about their overall impressions of General Synod's work in 2017.
I've been really pleased and strongly agreed with the raft of legislation that we have passed that has to do with child protection and redress and safe ministry and episcopal standards.
So we've had some incredibly significant motions and legislation that have passed. They've pretty much passed unanimously each time. So I'm impressed that we're addressing those, but also that there's been such a unity around these issues and wanting to deal with them. That's been wonderful.
For me, all those ones about child protection, including the Child Safe Ministry Bill and the Episcopal Standards Bill, and secondly, I think the one yesterday afternoon about our stance on same-sex marriage, I think, they're my two favourites.
Well, there was a lot I was supportive of. There were some good things. I was very interested in the domestic violence motions. That's very important. That's important to me. And the role of women in the church, that's been a great area that I've supported right through my 30 years on General Synod, and to have the push for women to have more roles in the commissions and the bodies of the church. I just hope that finally comes into force rather than just talking about it.
I have found our willingness to rebuke churches who are part of the Anglican Communion difficult, and I would have preferred that we found a more gentle path through that.
So I was very happy that Synod recommitted to gender equity on our Synod bodies and recommending this throughout the church as well. That's impressive, and it's wonderful to recommit to that. However, we have conducted some elections at this very Synod which don't reflect that rhetoric. So we obviously have a lot of work to do in the church still, and of course in our broader society, about gender equity.
I was opposed to some of the amendments to in the homosexual area, but other than those obvious ones, no, there's nothing I was very strongly opposed to. No.
I don't like the way we keep talking about marriage as if it's never changed. I'm a historian. Marriage has changed dramatically throughout Scripture, throughout the history of the church. I'm hoping that we pass same-sex marriage at the postal vote, and I wish the church would marry same-sex couples. Can't see it happening in my lifetime, hope it will.
It is always lovely to meet friends and people that we know, and to meet new people and make new friends from across the Anglican Church and around the country. But I have loved the Bible study. Our Bible study group's been really terrific, and the Bible study leaders were fantastic.
Yeah, we are a church that believes in the priesthood of all believers. So while I attend here as a cleric, as a priest, there are lots of lay people here, and I've been so impressed with what an enormous contribution so many of the people in our parishes have made to this synod. And I'm thinking particularly of people with legal expertise. We've had so much legislation that has been drafted by solicitors, QCs, barristers, judges, and who've given of their time so wonderfully. So very, very impressed and grateful to all of their work.
As a whole, this was the best General Synod. I've been coming to General Synod since 1992, and I think that the way this Synod ran and the spirit in which it was done, including even these little things here, added to a feeling of engagement that I've not seen before with this warmth. So it was the general warmth of the whole event was really a win for me. I'm great. It's my last General Synod, and it's my best, so that's rather a good time to go, I guess.
Being with friends. I know a lot of people on the General Synod through 30 years here, And I always like catching up with people from around the country that we don't have any other opportunities as an Anglican church. We only generally meet every 3 years at General Synod. This is my last General Synod, so I'm going to really miss those connections with people.
Well, I think that the viabilities and structures issues around how smaller rural dioceses are going to continue to not only have a ministry which is real and valuable, which they do have, of course, but how they're going to be able to continue to live their life when the demands of compliance, the issues financially are so big and rural Australia is shrinking. So that is a really big issue, and how it is that the big or the strong, if you like, are going to help those who are a little smaller and be alongside. That's a big issue for us going ahead.
Well, we've passed a lot of things. We've made statements, we've made apologies at this synod. Now we have to do the hard work of enacting much of what we have passed. So there is an enormous task before us. This has been a wonderful start and feels like a very special moment in the history of our church and our nation. I feel like we've addressed issues at this synod that we couldn't have addressed 20 years ago, but now is the moment when we can change the narrative and improve in so many ways. So yeah, it's been a terrific time.
There is one about serious long-term viability of parts of our church, and I think that's a genuine issue. And I think we are, as a society shifts very strongly on sexual morality, the Christian church will find itself either living in permanent difference or facing the challenge of compromise, and that issue is not going away.
Two issues. One is coming to terms with the reality of same-sex couples in our society and not turning our backs as we did on women, on divorce, on so many other issues for such a long time, putting ourselves right out of kilter with the rest of the country. The other issue that I'm very concerned about is that I see a huge dominance increasing over the past couple of decades, but now pretty much entrenched, of the conservative factions across the church who would be against the sort of progressive issues, women, same-sex marriage, all of those that I've been so passionately supportive of. I actually believe if we were trying to get women priests now, instead of in 1992, wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen because the Conservatives are so dominating the General Synod. That saddens me as I leave.